Hello everyone, this is Jafar. Today I'm going to practice a problem that is that we can see the maximum and the minimum of an array using minimum number of comparisons. So here we can see our task is to for a given array, the task is to find the maximum and the minimum element of an array using the minimum number of comparisons. So the input array 3, 5, 4, 1, 9, and the minimum element is 1 and the maximum element is 9. So in the first approach, here we can see that this is the naive approach. We take a set function and then we take initialize meaning as a positive infinity, and then we'll create a for loop and we check if the meaning is less than num. If the meaning is less than num, then the num is stored in the meaning and it will return the meaning. So if I take 1, 4, 3, 2, 6, here I can say 7. So the first index number, if we take the first check number and we check each of the element and compare it with the first element, and if the 7 is lesser than 1, suppose we store 7 in the meaning, and when we check it, if the 7 is less than 1, it's not true. Meaning is less than 7. So the num 1 is stored in the meaning, and then again it will check if the meaning is less than num. What is the num? 4, because it affects the num. So num is first the num is in the 0 index, then 1 number index, and then 2. It increases the index, or we can say it iterates. So if we compare the meaning with 4, if the 4 is less than 1 or 1 is less than 4, then it is 1 is not less than 4, so the meaning will be 1, and it will check so on. And again we'll set a set function and again run a for loop, and then we again checking the same task. If the 7 is greater than, we will store 7 in the maxi, and we'll checking if the 7 is greater than 1. If 7 is greater than 1, then yes, 7 is not greater than 1. 7 is greater than 1, so we will store 7 in the maxi. It will remain stored in the maxi. And will then check 4. No, 4 is not greater than 7. Maxi will remain 7, and then 3, and so on. So here we can see we wants to find the mean or the minimum number. We have to go through n minus 1 times. Okay, n minus 1 time. So if we have like 7 numbers, we have to make comparisons 6 times for to get the minimum number. And if you want to find the maximum number, then we again also want to check n minus 1 numbers. So together 2 into n minus 1. This would be the comparison number of comparisons if we follow this approach. So now we're gonna follow another approach. that would that would be the minimum that would given you the minimum number of comparisons. So let's check this out. The Visual Studio Code right now. So okay, so I'm gonna show you the idea. So first we compare elements in pairs. In the previous program we were checking with each element, but now or one element. But now we're gonna check in pairs instead of one by one. And then from each pair, one number is clearly larger and the number is smaller. So only compare the larger with the current max value and the smaller with the current mean value or minimum value. So in this case, we do not check both numbers against both minimum and the maximum unnecessarily. In that case, we were unnecessarily checking uh, both min and max. So first of all, we can dry run the code, and then we shall start for the coding. We shall start the coding part. So step you can you can write it as step. I mean taking array 7, 2, 10, 5, 1, 8. So these are the steps, and first we'll take as we can write down pair and then result, and then the current mean, the current minimum number, and current current max. Is current mean and it is current max. So first we will take a pair 7 and 2. So we're taking 7 and 2, and then we will check if 7 is greater than 2. So here the mean would be 2 and the max would be 7. So the current mean is what? So we make a compare. We make compare. We compare the result. So this is I think this is the total part is uh, pair result. Okay, so current mean is 2. Current max is 7. This is the first comparison. And now we will take another part, 10 and 5. So in the 10 and 5, what we will do, we will comparison in them. Like who is greater than 10 is greater than 5. Okay, so the mean will be, so what will be the mean? We will check with the current one. So the current one, so here is the what is the mean? 5. If 5 is less than 2, is 5 less than 2? No. The mean will be 2 and the max will be, what is 10 greater than 7? Yes, 10 is greater than 7. So the mean and the max will be 10. So the current minimum is 2 and the max is 10. Again, we will take another part 1 and 8. So now 1 is less than 8. So let's what will be the mean? The current mean is 2. 1 is less than 2. So the mean is 2. And the max, what is the max? 10. So 8 is less than 10. So the max will be 10. So if we complete the list, the current minimum is 2 and the current maximum is 10. So this is the answer. So here we can um, draw around the code. Now we will let's do the code and then we will analyze the phases of its time complexity and space complexity and also the number of comparisons. So let's check it out. So first of all, what we can do, we will take a function depth. Okay, so we will make a let's just say we will make a function that keeps both that will find us both the mean and the max. So mean and max. So we will take a, what is it? In the function min max, we will pass a list a. So now we will check the length of an array or the list. So we take n, take a len function. What is len function? Len function returns the length of an array or list. So yeah, we find it. Now what we're gonna do? We're gonna check. So my so let's just see a convention. Once we find the length, then that could be two cases. If the n is even or the n is odd. There can be two cases. In the cases, we have to act differently. So let's check it out. So first, what we can do, we can initialize the min and the max. Okay. So let's check if it is even or odd. So how we gonna make it? We gonna n modulo n percent 2. So n is divided, it will give us the remainder. N is divided by 2. If the divider is 0, then it will be considered as an even. Else it will consider as odd. If it is considered as if the remainder is 0, then what we can do? We can make a condition that array array in the zero index. Okay, so the array in the zero index, if the array in the zero index is greater than array in the one index, what we do? Let's just check. Suppose I have 7, 2, 10, 5, 1. So it is 8. It is even. So this is the zero number index and this is the number one index. So we gonna check if the number of zero index is greater than the number which is in the one number index. So if a of 0, I mean the zero number index is greater than the one number index, then we will set max, comma, mean is equal to array max, since the array of zero, the number which is in the zero number index, which is greater than array which is in the one number index, then we can store array zero in the max variable, and and the mean will be array of one. So now what we're gonna do? So we can see we have uh, nested. What problem is it? We got an indentation problem. For you to first we need to complete it. So or else, what will be the else condition? The else condition will be the reverse. The max would be the max would be a of zero, and the mean would be the max would be a of one, and the mean would be a of zero. That is the another case. If it is when saying if it is even case, then we have to write down the odd case. So this I guess here this is even and this is odd. So this will be the right now it is fine. The indentation, and I gave uh, so here we can see. So now what we will do, we will think that this is in the, let me comment it out. This is for even case, and nothing will be the odd case. So we what we're gonna do, we have to make the case what is that is for odd case. So we will now check the odd case. Let's find out. The odd case will be the max is equal to the mean is equal to A0. So why did I write down this? I'm going to explain. So in this case, we are taking I as a 2. Why? I'm going to show you the result. And for this, please forgive me for right now. I'm going to explain everything. And here we giving 1. So here we can see if the number list length is even, then we have to compare the two numbers, like 7 is greater than 2. If the list is odd, like 7, 2, 10, 5, 1, then what we gonna make? We have to first we take the zero number index and we consider it as a mean and the max. If it is odd, we are considering the zero number index number as a mean or max both, and then we check with the other number iteration. So here is the condition between the even and the odd. So let's solve it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna process the pairs. What we're gonna do, we're gonna process the we'll take as a while loop, and once I is Visual Studio Code is suggesting me, while I is less than n minus 1. So I consider there are n numbers, and if the if the I is 2, after look at this, we took two first two number and we make I is equal to 2, and if it is odd, then we make I is equal to 1. So the loop will run when I is greater than n minus 1, because we have to check all the numbers. So right now what we will do, we will let's just check it and then we will find out if it is right or wrong. So here we can see the while loop, n is greater than I greater than n minus 1. So now it is fine. So let's just check if a of I, what we have made I is equal to 2. So a of 2, let's simulate this. A of 2, like a, the number which is in the 2 number index, is greater than a of I minus I plus 1. So 2 plus 1 is 3. Then what we will do, we will check it with max, and we will check it with mean. So if number 2, I of 2, first we have done it with a 0 and 1. Now we are checking 2 and 3. So number 2 and number 3 index. So if number a of 2 is greater than a of 3, then what we will do? We will store, and then we will make another condition. Here we set the max and the min. In the diagram code, we check with the current. If we remember, in the diagram code, we check with the current minimum and the current maximum. So if a of I is greater than a of I plus 1, then we will check a of I. If a of I is greater than max, then if a of I greater than max, then we will store a of I in the max. Or if a of I or and if a of I plus 1 is less than min, then we will store a of I plus 1 in the min. So let's just simulate with this. If 10 is greater than 5, yes, 10 is greater than 5. So if 10 is greater than max, what is in the max? Since it is even, then max is 7 and min is 2. This is max. This is min. Check if 7 is greater than 10. No, 10 is greater than 7. So max will be updated as 10. And again the 5. It will check 5. If the 5 is less than 2, no, then the min will be remain as 2. Okay, we have done with this loop. And again, we will do, we will do the same. That is the alternate case. If I of 1, like the 10 is less than, 10 is greater than max, then it will store a of I plus 1 in the max, and in the other case, if the mean is less than a of I, then a of I will store in the mean. Then what we will do? We will iterate it as a I plus 2. So here is the case, I plus 2. So we have compared two numbers. Since we have compared two numbers, let me draw it for you, like 7, 2, 4, 5, 3, 5. So first we check with these two number, then we check these two number, and what will be the I? I will be, if it is even, then it will be updated to 2 plus 2, 4. It will do with the next two numbers, like with the in the 4 number index. If it is odd, then I was 1, then 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. It will check with another second pair. So your task is to complete the you have to simulate this code in your brain. So right now, what I can do, I have to finish the code. So the while it will return the mean and the max, as simple as that. The mean and the max. So now what we can do, we have to write a driver function to pass a list to the function so that we can run the code. So right now we can take a array Take a list is suggesting me. Wow, it's blazing. So I just take mini and maxi, and now I'm going to call the function. Oh, he's suggesting me everything. So there you go. Let's run this code. We've taken our array list, and then we call the min and max function. The mean it will return min and max, and it will store in the min and the max, and then the minimum element is mini, and the maximum element is we print the min and max. So let's go to the terminal now. Python app dot py. So the minimum. So we take this list. Minimum is one, and the maximum is eight. So what we'll do right now? Now we will uh, talk about the time complexities. The time. So I think I can think. So this loop will go until n minus one. Like there's six times. It is six. The number of the list is seven, but it will run for six times. So now we will calculate the comparisons. Let's check it out. So in the first approach, where we are comparing with one by one, without here we have compare uh, like we have compare with in pairs. So we have to scan a array twice in the file. 823. We have to scan the array twice. So to find n minus 1 for mean and n minus 1 for max, so both will be 2 and minus 2. This is the comparison. And if we here if we if we do this in we compare this in the pairing process, then it will shorten the entire system. Like let's just say uh, we are finding the time complexity of every thing here. So let's just check. So the time complexity of the first initialization is uh, what we can say O of one, and then this part, this whole part is also O of n, and the while loop is both part. And the while loop is a little complex. The loop runs through the array two elements at a time. So instead of n iteration, it does about n by two iteration. So in the naive mode, it goes like n times, but it goes this approach, it goes n by two because we're taking pair. So n by two less comparison, n minus n by two less comparisons we can moderate here. So the time complexity of is O of n by 2. So we can write it O of n for this part, this while loop. And the return statement is O of n. Return statement is O of n. So the total time complexity would be, for the return is O of n. So also the return statement will be O of 1. So O of 1 plus O of 1 plus O of 1 plus O of n plus O of 1. So O of 1 plus O of 1 plus O of n plus O of 1. It will be O of n. Okay? And the space complexity, it uses only a few variables like mean and max and no extra data structure. So we are considering is as O of 1, the space complexity. And now, why don't we talk about the the breakdown about the comparison, the count, how do so first of all the algorithm has like three phases. The initialization, like I'm telling you, let's see this first. The initialization with even or odd. If the array length is even, then we compare the first two elements, like one comparison. If the array length is odd or no initial comparison, just set mean and max to array of 0 and then loop through pairs. The loop runs like n by 2 times, and since I is increased by, the loop runs for n by 2 times. Since I is increased by 2 iterations, so we're taking two elements, two numbers at a time. Then update the max with the larger one comparison, and update with the mean, update the mean with the smaller one. So that one comparison. Total three comparisons. So, so why don't we count? So initialize the comparison between array of 0 and array of 1. So this is one comparison. Okay, and the remaining n by 2, n minus 2 elements, which will make n minus 2 by 2 pairs. So here we get one comparison, one pair, and then the, the n minus 2 elements, which will be n minus 2 divided by 2 pairs. And each pair has three comparisons, as I said. How three comparisons? The first comparison and the second, and in this the third. The first, each element has three comparisons. So the total is the 1 plus, what is it? N by minus 2 divided by 2 into 3, because each number has each pair. So we have to create, we create n, I'm sorry, n minus 2 pairs. First we compare with one pair, a0 and a1, and the last element is n minus 2. So n minus 2 divided by 2 pairs. We have to comparison, and each pair compares three times. How? This is the first comparison, this is the second comparison, this is the third comparison. So each pair compares three times. So 1 plus 3 into n minus 2. If we simplify this, then we get. So this is in what case? This is for if the n is even. If the n is odd, then in the first step there will be no comparison because if it is odd, if the n is odd, the n is odd, then it is we will go to this condition, then there will be no comparison. So first it has zero comparison, then the first element. So the rest element is n minus 1. So n minus 1 divided by 2 pairs. It will have to check. Each pair compares 3 comparisons. So 0 plus 3 into n minus divided by 2. This is the if it is this is the comparison if it is odd, n is odd. So the both even and odd case lead to if you check it, it will lead to 1.5 n this case and the uh, okay let me write it clearly. So if we do this one by one, check check comparison with the comparison one by one, then the compare will be 2n minus 2. And if we go through this process, then we have to check only 1.5 n, like 0 plus 3 into n minus 1 divided by 2. If you simplify this, we will get 1.5 n, or 1 plus 3 into n minus 2 divided by 2. If you simplify this, we will get uh, close to 1.5 n. So which is larger, 2n minus 2 or 1.5 n? Of course 1.5 n. So now talk about the base case or the worst case. It will be the same, like O of n, the base case, worst case O of n, and the average case O of n. So if you have any question regarding this problem, you can email to me. The email address is given in the description. Thank you so much. This is my first video. Please forgive me if I cannot explain or uh, I write on the screen with a mouse. So it has some limitations. So sorry. If you have any question, you can feel free to comment or email me. Thank you so much.